What is good, everyone? A-Rock Oakley back with a kind of update since after the Boba suspension, we need to talk about Han again. I feel like we're diving into a deck that I have the most reps with. This is the one that I took down 1K in set 2, so trying to update it has been so much fun. There's so many great cards here with set 3, and we've gained some really good options, and we're going to talk about a couple like key points and key cards in the deck of things that we're trying to hit. First off, I've been back and forth on these two cards. We're going to start off with the early units. Soldier of the 501st is amazing because we can cheat it out for 0, but it doesn't defend well. And there are other cards that we've talked about that we want good defenses. Sundari Peacekeeper comes to mind. It doesn't defend well. The restore is great. It attacks well, has big toughness, but it doesn't do much. It doesn't take things with it. So that's a card we haven't loved in the past, but this has Soldier of the 501st has a similar issue in that regard, where the Reckless Gunslinger I have personally liked more because it can be smuggled, it guarantees damage, it does trade a little bit better. Even if it is 2 damage, it can still set up better overwhelm damage, or it can be reach in the later game because it can be guaranteed damage that is from our resource row, so it doesn't have to come from our hand. Another part of why I like this card so much is being able to have easier resource decisions. And Reckless Gunslinger, I think, fits that the best. Now, cannot be cheated out, so it's okay, but it being a 1 cost 2/1 is still great that does 1 damage. If it does 3 damage for costing 1, that's insane. Even if it does 3 damage costing 4, isn't terrible on rate. It's not the best, but still, it has play and can do a lot. I think if you were playing with a wonderful card that I currently don't run, Maz Kanata, I would probably be more on Soldier of the 501st because you want to be cheating out more units. You might still want 1 or 2 of these, but I am not on Maz. I think that the all-in strategy of Maz is a little bit tough and becomes a difficult line to navigate in a lot of ways. And I just felt like I was always getting blown out the more and more I went heavy into Maz. And the card that kind of has replaced Maz for me is Echo. Echo gets big, but is a much better later play, and I like that. So it's been the shift to this, to where we still can set up Coordinate and have a 4/4 instead of trying to build up a unit that maybe we do get blown out on. Because if you go hard into a Maz, especially with a lot of the ping stuff we're seeing in Django Tarkentown, it can be tough, and just don't want to see it. So setting up Coordinate feels a little bit easier. Playing a Han on playing Echo on a flip turn is sick because you're generally going to have Coordinate online, and you're able to kind of have a nice beefy 4/4. Can even be a 4/2, can be cheated out for 1 because of Coordinate being that static ability. So that's kind of some thoughts here. I really like Reckless Gunslinger as guaranteed damage, and is a card that I was missing in my early testing and brews. So very, very cool, very fun in that regard. Next up, we'll go with one that we have thought about, Hu Yang. This one is going to kind of maybe be in and out, still in the testing. I think Hu Yang offers a lot of just innate potential, but him not cheating in action is where I've struggled with him on. And I really want to be cheating actions. Since we already are, we're cheating resources already, but we're not really cheating actions. Adelphi being one of our strongest units in the deck because it does cheat in action and can buff stuff. I mean, the floor on this card is insane, where it is a 4/4 that cheats in action. The floor is on Adelphi is a 4/4. That's it. You just play it, and you have a 4/4 in space. But then it slowly creeps up. When it's a 4/6 that ambushes off of a timely or an energy conversion lab, and it cheats in action, that's the ceiling, and that's really insane. So Hu Yang does some really strong things, but I felt in a lot of plays, I would much rather be playing like double unit to maybe set up coordinate for heavy or echo instead of buffing something. So I'm still keeping this one in the maybe board and might be trying to put it back in just as the meta starts to shake out. But it does feel slow in some matchups where I was just holding it in hand. But if it does go unanswered, the 2/4 body is pretty sweet, and he's bringing, you know, essentially 4/6 worth of stats, which is great. So definitely don't sleep on Hu Yang. Not in mine at the moment, but definitely very good in a lot of ways. Another card that I think is worth talking about is Darksaber. We had this kind of as a silver bullet in the previous set, but since we, you know, aren't really doing much, this really is great on Han and Han alone. So, but definitely keep it in mind if upgrade removal starts to be on the downtick, even though General's Blade is on the rise. Darksabers might be moving to the side for Sabine. Upgrade removal might be dipping. So if it does, this could be a perfect card for us to lock back in, because if this goes unanswered, this is just insane. The 7/9 Han swinging is insane. Putting it on other stuff is great too. With the space heavy decks, the Valiant Assault Ship could make a case for coming back in, as has Saboteur, so we can rip through shields and can get through maybe if they have Sentinels in space, but lots of options here. Generally against like those faster decks, though, they can easily play around that, the on attack getting a buff. So keep that in mind, but if we do need more space presence, this is a card to keep in mind. Always a very strong aggressive ship. With the fact that we have gone up in Bright Hope and Echo Base Defender, we should definitely be considering what we can do as far as adding value through General Riken, who I think is insane. I think this card is so strong in a lot of ways, and he's amazing with Energy Conversion Lab and Timely Intervention. I think this package is one of the best packages with Energy Conversion Lab, because General Riken will be a 6/8 that ambushes in. On attack, the Wind Blade, give him Sentinel. On attack, give him the experience, and he's a 6/8. He's doing a lot, and then he's usually sits around. Issue is 7 toughness leaders are not being handled by him, but in this deck, we can have these units out. You can just cheat him out as a 5/5. You can buff these, or you can just play him out as a 5/5 Sentinel. It's not a terrible option and can really slow down your opponent on specific turns. So I've considered going this up maybe in the sideboard, just because we are up to 3 Bright Hopes and 2 Echo Base Defenders. This might be enough for this package to really work. I know people have talked about just Riken being good standalone, but I think there's merit. If you're going to play this card, I want it to have extra potential, and I think that extra potential comes in this, especially into the space heavy decks. You go Bright Hope into Riken. This is now a 3/7. This is doing a lot of work in space, which is exactly what we want to be doing. So that line starts to make more sense, and maybe where Riken can see his stock rise and maybe earn a spot. Maybe it might be worth to have 2 in the side, which is kind of where my brain immediately goes, but we'll see. Definitely always keeping Riken on my radar. So some very cool options there, and just, again, does a lot of work for us. So that's like a lot of the, it's not all of them, but some really other good cards that are already in the sideboard. Scanning Officer for Han 1. If you're playing against Han 1 yellow, I think that this card is a big time card to hit. You don't always want to rip it on turn 1, but if it's the only option, and then it's just a solid unit. 2/3 is, you know, not terrible for 2 resources, but if we can play this at the right turns and stop a DJ combo or get rid of their techs or their hotshot blasters, this is great. So Scanning Officer is in there right now if Han 1 yellow has its rise to prominence. Fang Fighter for Darksabers. Space Presence. This is a great space unit. This is good for the General's Blade. And again, against the space decks, playing this and getting rid of 7th Fleet Defender's shield is valuable, because now they can't just attack into whatever you have and get a free trade. You can pop their shield, and now you're trading with them. So Disabling Fangfighter is a card that I like to have as just a generic space unit into those space heavy decks that I bring in. Choose Sides is one that I have really liked as just a catch-all, great into stealing Lukes and Avengers. So you just want to have this card always at the ready. I do think it goes up in value the longer games go. And yeah, I mean, if you just, smuggle out a Reckless Gunslinger on the previous turn, have initiative, choose sides, give them a little 2/1, it's pretty sweet. So always good. Home one is our late game, let's go big, let's try and extend the game. And yeah, this is up to 2 or 3 in the side. It'll never probably go down below 2 as a card that we kind of have to see sometimes. And if the game does extend, being able to kind of bring back a lot of great units is amazing. So big fan. Home one is great. So now talking about some breakpoints, the couple key ones that I want us to be aware of. We have our ability to hit 6 toughness leaders easily across this spread. So 6 toughness can get there. Heavy being one of our best ones, because we can play this on the turn before they deploy their 6 HP leader. If we can get Coordinate online, it can handcuff them. They're in jail, so we're keeping it locked down, and we don't have to burn Energy Conversion Lab. But this does open opportunities to play it off Energy Conversion Lab, and it can trade very, very far up the chain. So Heavy is my pick as the best card from Twilight of the Republic, but that's probably because it fits so well in this deck and it gives it versatility. It's only at a 2 of, just because I still think K2 is the better offensive threat in most situations and has some better flexibility, and the ability to play a K2 and then play another K2 and sack it to deal 3 damage should not be overstated of how strong that can be. So Heavy being at a 2 of, I think, is great, because we just have to factor in, and we had to go up in Bright Hope to handle space. So we started to lose out on spots. So Heavy hits our 6. He can also hit certain 7s. Not always, because when it was Boba, it was great because he could hit the 7s, but now he can't, because he won't have the when defeated trigger, but still putting 6 damage in. And also him stand alone, even if you're not using him to take out a leader, if he needs an answer, and he can just do 5 damage back if he takes an answer, if they attack into him. If they just remove him, it's still 1 damage and can set up really strong plays with Wrecker in the later turns and can help us climb. So Heavy is insane. Ayla in a way is like really good into Han 1 and 2, really good into a few other leaders with 6 toughness that it just takes it out. I like this into the Han unit as well, of being able to immediately answer that back and not die and have a 6/5 chillin'. So Ayla is at a 1 of, but what we often do is she's our silver bullet, but if it's not 6 toughness that we're trying to deal with, Kit Fisto comes into play, because Kit can go up to 10 damage if you have Coordinate online. That's insane. So that's an ambush that is taking out very big stuff, takes out all relevant leaders outside of Jabba. So that's great. So we want to see this when we need to clear bigger things. The Saboteur being very relevant if they are trying to protect and put a Sentinel in front. This can get through that. So that's where Kit Fisto definitely has extra value, and we like to see that. So especially in the climbing up, we're going up to easily taking out 7 to 8 toughness leaders. I don't know how many 8 toughness we're going to be facing, but still. And then obviously Wrecker goes really big. He can take out a Jabba, getting to that 12 with the when defeated and the on attack. So this spread is fantastic as far as being great Energy Conversion Lab targets, allowing us to trade up, and this gives us many options. Like if you have Poe and Ayla in hand, just really depending. You're probably going to keep the Poe because it demands a better answer and it's a better offensive threat, being able to swing for 8 a lot of the time. So we don't always want, like, if you have this is just giving us, Kit and Ayla, our Poe and Wrecker at home, which is great. Heavy is our, early plays that helps us get into it, but these cards are insane and have some of the most value in the deck. Plus, they are finishers. If they go unanswered, these cards will win games. So we like to see that a lot, as much as we can. And then talking about a couple of space units that can help us fight a little bit better in space, between the Senatorial Corvette and the Adelphi Patrol Wing, these cards are great. I think Adelphi is one of the best cards from set 2 as far as what it can do. It's even better with Energy Conversion Lab, as I mentioned with Han being able to cheat it out as a 4/4. That might bring a lot of extra value is really strong when used with Energy Conversion Lab. If you're taking out, a Lurking TIE Phantom or a P-38 or whatever it is, you're able to use this and cheat actions and maybe be able to keep initiative, and then maybe able to pop for 4 more again the next turn, which is a great way to start your turns. The Senatorial Corvette I have used to drop it as a 5/2, is that demands an answer, and if they do decide to take it out, they lose a card from their hand, so it's taking something with it, and often taking maybe 2 things with it, which is great. If it goes unanswered, this will quickly win the game. So again, big thanks to Yoda Killer on that. And again, so these are some of the things that I have now shifted in my deck, and obviously even this video has given me big talking points about Riken, and we talk about how strong a card like Heavy is, and we start looking at these options as ways to kind of handle the meta wherever it goes. And I think we have to have this space presence with Bright Hopes to red 3s. We could maybe even play A-Wing. I just don't like A-Wing because it's the same concept behind Soldier of the 501st, is it just doesn't defend well, and we need to be able to defend well. And I think that's where a lot of these cards start to really have some insane value. So yeah, you'll see the deck list at the start of the video, at the end of the video, where I'm currently at with my build, and how I'm enjoying my time. But I got a couple big events this weekend. We have a showcase event on Friday, followed by a case worth of prizing at a store event on Saturday. So big thanks to TBS Comics here in Pensacola for putting those on. It's going to be a couple fun days, and I think I'm just going to run this. I have a couple other decks that I wouldn't mind jamming, but I want to get the more reps I can with this deck, the better. So again, Han Solo, worth the risk, is an incredible card that allows us and will continue to have value as more and more sets get introduced. I can't wait to get more space presence in the next one, and this card just allows us to we don't have to play into certain synergies. We can just play value units, and I think that is where Han really lies. So check out the deck list, comment down below what you think, and if there's any decks you'd like me to try and build and talk about, please let me know. Got some funny shorts and reels on the way. Make sure you guys are a part of KTOD and any of the other amazing networks that are out there in Star Wars Unlimited, and stay awesome. May the Force be with you all.